Hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Okay, cool. All right, thank you. Talk to you later. Bye. I'm gonna need you to share the screen. So we'll do the, you want me to do it? Because I'm gonna do the application and go through each one. And are there any questions with any of this? So the link, so share, are you the host or me? Oh, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So how can I tell who's on here? Nope. Okay. I see we have 14 participants so far. Okay. And no, I don't have to. Okay. The time is 2:01. So I see that, gosh, we only have 14 participants. And right. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and get this moving. Hello, everyone. This is Colleen McAleer, and I see that we have Brian, Deborah, Jessica, Judy, Christy, Mark, Hannah, Micah, Nikki, Patricia, Priya, and Randy Perry joining us. And I am going to go over the application. If anyone has any questions, they can go right ahead and add it to the chat. I am going to ask that Peggy be following the chat, the Q&A. And Peggy, will you be able to do that for us? Yeah, I think so. I don't know. And then also, I'm going to pull up the incognito form, the latest version of it, and share that with everyone. Let's see. So yeah, right now I am the only panelist. And I see, let's see. No, we've got, Mark says nobody else on video, Mark. So I've got, yeah, I should do allow to talk on everyone. Okay, there we go. Now I'm starting to get folks to, that's what I needed to do. There. Yeah, it is. I see we still have more people joining us.
Am I muted now, Mark?
No, hi, Mark. Now I hear you.
Okay, I just unmuted myself.
Okay. So this is good. I don't think we're going to have that many people, so I'll go ahead and just unmute everybody, and then one thing, can you send me the latest link to it? The incognito, so I use the most up to date. No. Okay, I'm just making sure I've unmute. Okay, there. Yeah. So I am going to share my screen in a moment here and go over the application. We'll try to do this fairly quickly so that in case anyone has any questions or any specific scenarios, like we did get some interesting questions posed to us where people had kind of a side gig, as they called it, but then also had, were applying as an executive director of a nonprofit and that kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen at this point. And there we go. This one and share. Okay, so can everybody see this?
Yep.
Okay, I guess if you can't, you can put that in the chat or just let me know. So anyway, we tried to make this fairly straightforward. Business name, and that's, if you're a nonprofit, just put the nonprofit, and that business name, if you're doing if you're a DBA, put the DBA right there. And then legal company, if different. I think that's fairly straightforward. Principal office street address, and then principal office mailing address, if it's different, pretty straightforward. If you have a website, UBI number, if you don't have it, there's a link there. Tax identification number, you will have to have that. If you are a sole proprietor, you can use your social security number. Is the business L&I account current? Hopefully the answer is yes there, but you can look on L&I. There's a link there to verify it. Date the business opened. You just need the month and the year. As of right now, we're restricting it to, because we want information on the first revenues in the first 6 months of 2019 to compare to the first 6 months of 2020. We said that the requirement for business opened would be after June of 2019, but I would hope that people would apply even if it's after that. There may be some modification to that in the future. Name of owner, executive, or president. So I think we will change that to executive director or president so that nonprofits understand that that's what we're looking for. And let's see, what is the majority owner's primary county of residence that need, it really should be Clallam County. If it's not, it doesn't mean they're ruled out, but I think there's a preference if they live in Clallam County. Socioeconomic ownership, that's optional. And then here under industry, I'll show you what the different options are on these. Under ag and natural resources, farming, livestock farming, forestry, commercial fishing, ag and agriculture inputs and services. And under real estate, so those are the different sectors there, real estate lenders and brokers, etc. Hospitality, it looks a little bit different on that one than it does the others. That's interesting. I don't know why it came up that way. We might change that before the end of, before we make this go live. Retail, and some people said they'd like to see boutique. One person said boutique in here. I'm wondering if this is, this comes from the North American Industry Classification System and NAICS code, and so boutique wasn't one of the options. But hopefully people will be able to determine what theirs would be. Otherwise, there's an other box down here. Medical, home health care services, medical clinic or office and dental. Professional services, several options there to choose from. Personal services, childcare, cosmetologists, nail salons, massage therapists, acupuncturists, estheticians, cleaning, sanitation, janitorial, landscaping, maintenance, automotive repair and maintenance. And again, if it's not there, you can list it in other. And nonprofits, environmental, arts, education, faith-based, civic organization, and community organization. And number of FTEs, excluding owners, as of 01/20. And I'm going, okay, in case there's like several owners though, I think we may modify that, and because we want to know if the company is supporting owners as well. And if you've got, 4 owners that are living off of an income from a business, then that's a critical thing for us to understand. So I think we're going to eliminate that before this goes live at 4 p.m. Business structure. Okay, so people have asked about this. The business structure, it's not, the pull down menu is not coming down now. Huh. I'll have to fix that. We had like sole proprietor, S Corp.
It just
LLC.
popped up.
Oh, did it?
We're on there. Yep, right there.
Oh, no, that's my information. Trying to plug in my own information. I don't know, it somehow disappeared. So we'll fix that. I'm glad I'm going through this again. Yes.
On the business structure, is this going to be just the legal structure that we're talking about here? LLC, sole proprietor, that kind of
Correct. Yeah, we had it there as a drop-down menu, and it shows up as that? Huh, weird. Well, we've got some kind of little technical glitch going on. Maybe it's just this particular link. Do you want to try to send me another link? And then I will try to pull that one up, stop sharing this one, and see if it'll work. Number of workers laid off due to COVID-19. And that, I think we should establish a date there, because should that be as of today, or is it as at any point? Because that's not clear, obviously. Number of full-time employees today, and should that be excluding owners? I don't think it should. We took some of this from other counties' programs, and so trying to get it out as soon as possible, I used a lot of their stuff, but now as I'm going through it again, I'm thinking about modifying some of this. And then brief company description, I think that's fairly straightforward. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and go to a new link and see if it fixed those errors here. All right. Okay. There, and I'll share again. Okay, let's see. It was hospitality that, yeah, it's still doing it that weird way. Huh. Well, we'll fix that before 4 o'clock. And business structure. Oh, it did it for a second. I think it might have to do with the fact that my computer's trying to fill it out.
Yeah, click on the actual B part of the business structure.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. There it worked. So, sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, C Corp, S Corp, B Corp, nonprofits, and a co-op. Can anyone think of another type of legal business structure we should include? Yeah, if not, we will, I wonder if we should put an other in there. Anyway, we'll work on that. And so we're going to determine whether, I think at any point, number of workers laid off, I think that's at any point, how many were laid off, even if you brought them back on due to PPP, because presumably when you run out of the PPP funds, you'll be back in the same position. So, and then down here, eligibility declarations. So this is the COVID, this should be rewritten. COVID-19 related financial impacts. There wouldn't have been any from 2019 to, that there'll just be an enter there. So that we're getting the 2019 revenue and then compare that to 2020, and then the computer will automatically subtract one from the other to show how much revenue was lost between the 2 years. And then this is important, how many months of reserve does your business have based on the current economic situation? And so the last option is 12 or more. And select the highest level of impact that best describes what your business experienced due to the public health emergency order. So this is required closure is still in effect. That's, you know, blackball and that kind of thing. Required closure that has been partially lifted. So that would be a like say a restaurant, and required closure that has been fully lifted, but you were totally closed for a while. That would be a nail salon, that kind of thing. Mandatory service limitations. I'm going to delete that because that's very similar to required closure that has been partially lifted. That to me would be a restaurant again. Or yeah. And then reduced revenue due to limited demand. That's a lot of service industry people or even nonprofits that don't have the same amount of income that they previously had. Optional input related
Colleen?
closure. Yeah, go ahead.
I just have a question. Can we go back up to that reserves for a moment?
Yep.
Because, I mean, what are we talking about here in reserves? To cover all fixed expenses? I mean, exactly what the people are going to have to put in there.
Okay, so if your current run rate continues, where like say you're losing $10,000 a month, how much do you have available in your cash reserves for your company to continue that negative run rate?
Okay.
So I'll do some kind of explanation or something. And about that, I'll add that. That's a good point, Mark.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'd be good to get that a little clearer. So.
Okay, will do. Thank you. And briefly describe how you would use any funds that were awarded. And then let's see, if you'd like to add more information as to how the COVID-19 public health emergency and related closures has impacted your business, your employees, and your ability to do so here. Yeah, so this is an option for you to continue the explanation of what you're experiencing. Please briefly describe the ramifications to your business and the people employed by it if you do not receive the funding requested. So that would be how many, you know, examples could be, I anticipate we will have to close our business in October and we'll go on hiatus, or we will permanently close, or I've laid off this many people. I anticipate we'll have to lay off this many more in this many months with the continued, if the continued situation keeps on going. I'm going to put somebody on mute here because I can see, I can hear that we've got somebody in the background there that has got a little kitty. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. Describe amounts and sources of funds and total amount that you've received. So from any types of grants and that kind of thing. If you've had any unemployment insurance benefits or PPP or EIDL loan, I may adjust that in the meantime. I'll get back to you on that. What we're trying to do there more is assess. We know that 1/4 of all the businesses have received a PPP loan, but many have not applied for them. And in a lot of cases, I think people should apply, but they think of it as a loan and don't understand that it's completely forgivable if it's spent correctly. So I'm going to be modifying that a bit before 4 o'clock. Indicate the amount of business interruption insurance you're receiving. Enter 0 if you're not receiving any funds. Check mark if you've received any of the following sources in 2020. So the Governor's Working Washington Grant, Olympic Peninsula Farmers Fund, any FEMA funding. Some nonprofits received that. SQUIM, Small Business Relief Fund. CDBG has not come out yet. And United Way, COVID Response Fund, and Clallam County Keeping the Lights On. The Clallam County Lifeboat Small Business Grant is sourced from CARES Act funding, so we have to ensure that we're not funding duplicative costs to a business. So that's why this was added. So a business will not be penalized in the grading of an application if they have received a PPP loan. We hope everyone has, but if they haven't, we will be trying to understand why they haven't pursued that since there's still 130 billion remaining. But a lot of businesses that have received the PPP loan did so and were not, have run out of those funds or are about to, and they don't have any funds remaining. And so this could be a resource for them at that point. And so if the answer is yes, we want people to indicate how they spent it. And examples are like utilities in May, rent for April and May, payroll April, May and June as an example. And then we know that if you used the PPP loan for those for those uses, we have to make sure that if you are awarded funds, we don't provide you funding for you to pay for those things because you already used them. You paid for those with the PPP money. And then if you received the PPP loan, have you spent all the funds? Yes or no? Did you receive a small business EIDL disaster loan? Again, this is more survey kind of information about the businesses. Did you receive a SQUIM Small Business Rapid Relief Fund loan or grant? And we do need to know about that because that is now considered federal funding because the city reimbursed itself for the $310,000 they gave to the chamber for this program. So that program is now considered federal funding. And then the business is to certify, I certify if they say no, we're not going to process the application. And number of potential jobs lost, I think we answered that above, maybe not, I'll go back and look. But will this grant help retain jobs, yes or no? If yes, how many? That was the county wanted us to add that. And then documentation, you would upload your documents there and applicants without uploaded documentation will be considered incomplete and ineligible. And then the signature, date, and title, which you can handwrite that, or you can just, no, I guess it's got to be handwritten. So that's about it. I see we've got a question. If we use PPP loan for payroll and now it's used up, may we then use Lifeboat funds for payroll? Yeah. Okay. So the answer there is yes, you can. You just can't use it for the same months. So if you used it on payroll for April, May, and June, you can now use this Lifeboat grant for July as an example, but you can't go back and use it for June. Say you're using it for June again.
Colleen,
Yes,
this is Mark. Got a question here.
please.
Let's say, you know, you're still struggling with your business, but you get the grant here, the Lifeboat grant.
Uh-huh.
Then you decide to get an idle loan to try to continue to keep the business going. Are there going to be, I mean, is that money from a new idle loan going to have to be different from whatever you use the grant money? I mean, we're flipping this around a little bit.
Right, right. So you can't, what they say is you can't double dip with federal funding. So what you have to be very clear about, and the only way we can confirm that someone is not quote unquote double dipping is that we have them certify that they will not use the idle loans for the same purposes as the Lifeboat grant funds. So there's really no, I mean, and if you think about it, the SBA did not, if someone got an idle loan, they did not have to say that they wouldn't use the same thing, that they pay the same bills as they did with the PPP loan. The SBA didn't require that. So if the SBA is not requiring it, we're not going to. We just want a statement certifying that they will not use it for the same thing.
Okay, well, it's got to be
Is
a
that-
bit of a perspective, you know, because if you got the idle loan and you've been using that to cover all of your expenses out here, then you're probably not going to be able to get a grant, right?
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, if you're looking at all your fixed expenses and you've been using the idle loan
Right?
to take care of those, then what would you use the grant money for?
Well, so I would think you'd stop using the idle loan for a period and start using the Lifeboat grant for those expenses.
Oh, okay. It's a timing thing then, huh?
Yeah, it's just a timing thing.
Oh, okay.
Like you can use it for payroll 1 month and then not use it for payroll the next month. We just need to have something that either an invoice or a, you know, say if you were doing payroll, you would say that submit a, you know, a statement saying that you're covering payroll for these employees for these months with the grant, the Lifeboat grant, because you don't get an invoice for payroll.
Okay, so it's a monthly thing then, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hi, I have a question. I'm on my iPhone, so I can't see. May I interrupt and ask a question?
Yes, please do. And who's this?
My name is Renee Riopel. I'm calling from the Peninsula Dispute Resolution Center.
Uh-huh.
And I had a question in regards to the funding. I have a 2-year contract, and the second year is supposed to start July 1. And we have not received that contract and heard that there's going to be probably some deep cuts in regards to that yet. So my question is, because I don't know what those cuts are yet, and I probably won't find out this week, and I know the deadline is on Friday. I guess my bottom line question is, I'm concerned if I wait that there won't be, you said there was more funding for July and August, or more applications, hopefully. Is that a concern, or do you feel you'll be receiving more Lifeboat funds?
Yeah.
For the future?
I attended this morning at 11 o'clock a work session discussion with the county commissioners, and they decided they'd put another $150,000 into this program. So as of right now, it's not 200,000, it's 350,000, of which 60,000 will go to child care businesses. So, and I'm quite sure that the governor will very likely be, well, he's allocated 20 million. I don't know how much money will come to Clallam County. I'm guessing about 100,000. And if that's the case, then that will be an option as well. But if you want to, I'm trying to decide if you should just apply now or wait till it opens again when we have an additional round of funding. Because we're going to keep all of the applications, and if a business doesn't get funded in the first round, we're going to allow them to be able to apply again. You know, they don't have to reapply. We'll just keep their applications and then grade new ones that come in and sort them. And, you know, the ones that get the highest score will receive the funding. So that's pretty much what the process is that we're planning on. And so if you wanted to update your application, I think you could go in and, you know, update it. And I'm trying to think if we can have a system where we could show that it's an update. So we'll delete the last one. And I think if you just write update, you know, we're going to change the form and say, is this an updated application? So we can look at it that way. We can change the form fairly easily. So we'll do that.
That would be great, because I just don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a 15 or a 30% cut, and that really adds up. I know, like, we have surcharges that we receive from Clallam County, and I know those are down, but I just wanted to make sure that in case this other contract doesn't come through, or the percentages are way down, that I can ask for the proper amount, but I just don't know what that will be this week.
Sure.
Most likely.
Sure. Totally understand that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So any other questions? Let's see, we got 3 here. Okay, did that one. So we need to upload documentation for invoices, expenses to be incurred during the year in excess of 10,000. Can we send in payroll forecasts for August and September after PPP? Yes, as long as it's prior to October 31. So we have to close this out by October 31st. So there have been other grant programs where they did where they said that Commerce said that they could do like in advance. So you can do an amount, a payroll forecast for say August, September, and October, and we could then fund that, and just with showing that that's a forecasted amount. But we just need to have something that shows that it is not being used as the same thing as what you're using a PPP forgivable loan for. Does that cover your question, Tommy? I unmuted you so you can speak.
Yeah, that definitely made sense. I think the big thing is just making sure we supply 10,000 worth of expenses, because are we asking for 10,000, or is it an in-between amount?
You know, I would hope that if it was a smaller business and you realize, okay, well, this is to cover costs through the end of October, and my costs outside of what I'm getting for PPP only add up to $8,200. Here's $8,200 worth of expenses. You'd ask for $8,200.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So, and Patricia asked, the limit is 10,000, and that's a yes. The limit is 10,000. Okay, so I think we have covered everything. So at 4 o'clock, we plan on having the updated grant application ready to go. So I'm hoping everybody had an opportunity to answer their questions.
I have a couple questions.
Okay, please.
So when we have jobs counting, are we supposed to be counting FTEs? Because I have a lot of part-time positions, or should I count number of people?
So yeah, it's 32. We're trying to compare apples to apples. So you would count 30, at least 32 hours equals a full-time employee. So you add them up that way.
Okay, great. And then we have not applied for the PPP where we run programs for children, and so we closed, and we haven't been able to start up again. But so now that we're about to start up again in the fall, we're considering applying for the PPP. So if we applied for this, we could use this first and then use the PPP after that.
That's right, sir.
And how does that change if we actually have to close our programming because the governor orders us to do it? But if we keep our employees employed, but they're not teaching programs, they're just doing other program like organizational work, that's still.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's, you take what was your payroll last year, 2.5 times that amount, and then as long as you spend it before the end of the year, 60% on payroll and the other 40% on operational expenses, you can do that with the PPP.
Okay. And I do know that you have a lot of experience with the PPP. I'm having one question about the PPP. Can I ask it here? I have been.
Sure.
If we have to close because of the governor's order and I can't keep, like, for example, we use up the PPP and it pays for 3 months of employee wages, but governor says we're still in quarantine. Does my PPP then become
if you pay your employees and you're paying your rent, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what they are doing. It just matters if you pay them.
But I mean, like, if we run out of PPP money and we're still closed, we have no revenue, and then we have to lay them off, is the grant or is the money still forgivable?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thank you.
So Colleen, this is Priya. I have a couple of questions as well.
Yes.
So for a nonprofit, does the FTE count also include the executive director? Because
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then for workers laid off, do you want it to be part-time staff that were laid off? Do we calculate it as FTEs or the actual number of staff that left?
That's a good question.
And also in that conundrum, what about people that weren't necessarily laid off but left the organization either because they were getting better unemployment or because they could no longer work because of their change in status?
Right. I think what we're looking at is what were the total number of people working at your company previously and what's your number now? I think that's the driving issue rather than
because the issue is going to come up where we have FTE count, which is going to be lower than the number of people that left because our FTE, we're all part-time.
Right.
And so the FTE count comes out as low.
Right.
If you calculate it that way. But the number of actual individuals who left the organization is more or almost the same number as our FTE number. So that it's not comparing apples and apples, if you understand.
Right. Right. Yeah. I will clarify that I'm going to think about that and ask a couple people on the committee, and I will clarify that on the form and make sure if you have any questions after the form's been updated, you can give me a call.
Okay, and then the last part is, what about grants that have been applied for but we haven't heard back on? It's
only those that you have received.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then one question, in your level of impact, is there a possibility for you to add a category which is about required closure and change to another delivery mode? Because some of us, what we've done is we've changed what we're doing from in-person activities to virtual activities. And I think it would be helpful to have that as a category in that section.
Okay, I can do that.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, one more thing.
Okay.
So When you talk about socioeconomic status for a nonprofit,
Uh-huh.
the ED is the person listed as the owner. So do you want the ED kind of, because I'm Asian and I'm a
No,
woman.
no,
It's kinda
that
weird.
really, yeah, that really applies to small businesses.
Okay, great.
So we're kind of mixing apples and oranges here with nonprofits and small businesses.
Yep, awesome. Thank you
Okay,
so
sure.
much.
Certainly. Any other questions? And I see somebody has their hand up. Let's see.
I believe that was me. I already got my question answered. Thank
Okay,
you.
good, good. Okay. All right, well, thanks. We're available if you have any questions to try to help folks get through this, but I'm glad we did this to kind of go through what doesn't apply for some people and what wasn't clear. So thank you for being part of this. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Bye.
Good webinar.
Thanks.